I'm your host, Jimmy Chen. Arrgh. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Jimmy Chen, your friendly neighborhood Holy Bible explainer. We are reading, my channel is Food for HNM. We are reading book from the book of 2 Kings. We're in chapter 20. The next section is titled Hezekiah's Illness. In those days, Hezekiah became ill. Remember, Hezekiah is a king of Judah. He is from the house of David, King David. He became ill and was at the point of death. Kind of like this. Dying. The prophet Isaiah, or Isaiah, son of Amos, went to him and said, "This is what the Lord says. Put your house in order, because you are going to die. You will not recover." Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to the Lord. "Remember, Lord, how I have walked before you faithfully and with wholehearted devotion, and have done what is good in your eyes." And Hezekiah wept bitterly. Before Isaiah had left the middle court. So remember, there's volleyball. There's like center court where AVP, sand volleyball players play. When they reach the finals, Isaiah is not a volleyball player. Before Isaiah left the middle court, the word of the Lord. So remember, in the temple, we're talking about the temple man. There's the inner court, the middle court, and the outer court. So, when you were very Jewish or you were Israelite, right? Because you may not know, but there were all kinds of people that lived in Israel, ancient Israel, even back then, thousands of years ago. Just like any country, they will allow foreigners, what they call foreigners or strangers, into Israel. So usually, the outer court, that's where the people who are new to Israel stay, So, of course, Isaiah is the king, so he could go to the inner court of the temple. But so he's walking out. When you leave the temple, he could go all the way to the inner court, so he's leaving. So he goes to inner, middle, and then when he gets to outer, he leaves the temple. So before he left the middle court, the word of the Lord came to him. "Go back, Isaiah, and tell Hezekiah, the ruler." Oh, wait a minute. Maybe this is the palace. Okay. It could either be the palace or the temple, because this is face to the wall, There's some wall, like the Wailing Wall, So, I think it's the temple. I think I was right, as P-Fits are usually right. Hezekiah went to the temple to pour his heart out to the Lord. He was looking at this Wailing Wall thing. And Isaiah met with him there. And then he was leaving, and then the Lord, who is Jesus, he is the creator of all. He told him, just turn right back and go back and tell Hezekiah, the ruler of my people, this is what the Lord, the God of your father David, says. I've heard your prayer and seen your tears, and I will heal you. I will heal you. That's funny. Elsewhere I was mentioning that Jonah, he's another prophet. The Lord had him go to Nineveh and preach that he would judge it and destroy it. And he changed his mind. He sort of made Jonah a liar. So here's another example of the Lord telling Isaiah to tell King Hezekiah, you're going to die. You will not recover. And then immediately the Lord tells him to turn right back around and tell him that God, the Lord will heal you. On the third day from now, you will go up to the temple of the Lord. I will add 15 years. So 3 days from then, I will add 15 years to your life, and I will deliver you and this city from the hand of the king of Assyria. I will defend this city for my sake and for the sake of my servant David. Then Isaiah said, prepare a poultice of figs. They did so and applied it to the boil. So King Hezekiah had a wound, treated it with figs, and he recovered. Hezekiah had asked Isaiah, what will be the sign that the Lord will heal me and that I will go up to the temple of the Lord on the third day from now? Isaiah or Isaiah answered, this is the Lord's sign to you, that the Lord will do what he has promised. Shall the shadow go forward 10 steps, or shall it go back 10 steps? It is a simple matter for the shadow to go forward 10 steps, said Hezekiah. Rather, have it go back 10 steps. Then the prophet Isaiah or Isaiah called on the Lord, and the Lord made the shadow go back the 10 steps it had gone down on the stairway of Ahaz. So, King Hezekiah just wanted to see the Lord display, miraculous powers. So think of what do you call those? Sundial, right? As the sun moves through the sky, the shadow. A sundial is a very early form of a clock. You can see that as the sun moves, then if there's something that casts a shadow, that shadow will move. So what Hezekiah is saying is, can you move the sun in reverse? The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, right? And then the shadow will move something like this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 steps. So King Hezekiah wanted to see God do something amazing, move the sun back towards the east, and then the shadow of the sundial will move back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 steps. So wow, that's what God through Isaiah did. The next section, Envoys from Babylon. The next section is titled Envoys from Babylon. At that time, Marduk, Baladan, son of Baladan, king of Babylon. Oh, now we got the Babylonians getting involved. Sent Hezekiah letters and a gift because he had heard of Hezekiah's illness. Hezekiah received the envoys and showed them all that was in his storehouses, the silver, the gold, the spices, and the fine olive oil. His armory and everything found among his treasures. There was nothing in his palace or in all his kingdom that Hezekiah did not show them. Then Isaiah or Isaiah the prophet went to King Hezekiah and asked, what did those men say, and where did they come from? From a distant land, Hezekiah replied. They came from Babylon. The prophet asked, What did they see in your palace? They saw everything in my palace. Hezekiah said, there's nothing among my treasures that I did not show them. Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, hear the word of the Lord. The time will surely come when everything in your palace and all that your predecessors have stored up until this day will be carried off to Babylon. Nothing will be left, says the Lord, and some of your descendants, your own flesh and blood, who will be born to you, will be taken away, and they will become eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. People think that eunuchs are people with chopped, well, you know, a lot of people believe that a eunuch, they had to actually use a knife and do something violent to their private parts. No, that's not true. They just could not have sex while they were serving the king in the palace. And some of them just didn't at all. You know, that way they could be trusted by the king, you know, because there are many women in the palace, you know, and men are just a certain way. You know, they see a pretty woman and they just want to romance her and dance with her. And see, the king always needed people he could really trust. You know, as someone told me, never steal from me. You know, if you want me to trust you, never steal from me. But of course, you can never touch the boss's wife. Never touch the women in the palace. So that's all that it means. Like, in the past, if there were these eunuchs, they were just, they did not hurt themselves, and they did not have to be like strange, like they never had sex. Some of them, I think so, like some of them would so rarely have sex, but it's just because they have like a very high position with the king of I don't know, many empires. You know, they all have that similar practice. The word of the Lord you have spoken is good, Hezekiah replied, for he thought, will there not be peace and security in my lifetime? As for the other events of Hezekiah's reign, all his achievements, and how he made the pool and the tunnel by which he brought water into the city, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? Hezekiah rested with his ancestors, and Manasseh his son succeeded him as king. So let's take a look at this. It sounds like the treasures that Israel had would be stolen by Babylon. But remember that those things are called, like, when Joshua attacked Jericho and they took gold and silver, they're called dedicated things. So the way we use dedicated in the church nowadays is, it's a different meaning. They were like cursed for some reason. A long time ago in ancient Israel, these things like gold and silver, and they were shaped into I don't know, all kinds of things. Gold, silver, bronze, metals. The Lord, that's God the Creator. He always said these are dedicated things, so you have to give them to me. They're so cursed that only I can handle them for you. Anything else called dedicated back then, you had to completely destroy it. If God, again, the Lord, right? God the Creator, the Lord, if He said those people, those animals are dedicated things, the general and all the soldiers had to kill them. Even animals, just kill them, just totally destroy them, burn them. Very cursed. So I think that's what Hezekiah is saying. If these guys love, ding ding ding, shiny gold, silver, bronze, all these things that are in the palace, and sometimes in the temple, okay, they can have them because the Lord said that they're cursed. And then, although they are held within God's temple to protect people, and in the king's palace again to protect people from that curse, some of it, there's still some curse on the land. So I think Hezekiah's okay, they could take all the curses away, cursed items, and then the land will be better. He said, most likely there will be peace and security in the land of Israel. Thank you for listening. Keep God first. Remember, take your places.